Hi, I'm Jerry Peterson. I've been a potter for a good many years, and today I'm going to be demonstrating this piece, which is a chip and dip platter. And first I'll demonstrate the form, how this is thrown all as one piece, as you can see, and then I'll also be demonstrating this particular slip design. This is a nice predictable way to get a result, usually with high-fired pottery. Different glazes react differently depending on how the kiln is fired. But this, you can pretty much count on getting this result. And basically it's a blue slip. You could use different colors, but I use on this one a blue slip. It's on a white clay body, and what I'll do when the pot is pretty dry is carve this design. So I'm actually carving through the blue slip and into the white clay. It gets bisque fired that way, and after it comes out of the bisque kiln, it's dipped in clear glaze and high fired, and this is what you get, hopefully. Okay, so first is to actually throw the form. So I start with about 5 pounds of clay, maybe a tad more, and center. And everybody has their own method for centering. No particular right way or wrong way. This is just what works for me. So what I do is, centering is such a challenge, and I found this particular method, I get the clay about 90% centered before I even start throwing. So I get the wheel going real slow. When I smack it down on the wheel head, I'm aiming right towards the center. Now I'm just going to sort of pat it. You can see it's getting a little more centrifugal there. And then I run my finger around the bottom, and that seals the clay to the back so that water doesn't slide underneath, and you don't have the center pot sliding around the back. Okay, so now we're going to get it nice and wet. And I do this method called coning. It's another way of wedging the clay and getting any little air bubbles. As you know, air bubbles are just really bad news for any pot. You can weaken the pot, make the pot explode in the firing. Alright, so that sort of compresses the clay and gets it a little more homogenized. And then I'm just going to go back down. And I'm going to start off as though I'm throwing a platter or a plate. So I'm just flattening, and I'm supporting the side to keep it centered. And I come out. Now you see there's this little lump in the middle. You want to keep that because you're going to need that. So first I throw the center bowl part, or the dip. Always do the bowl first, do the platter later. Okay, so you make a well, and you want to check the depth of the clay, and you want it to be at least close to a 1/2 inch. That's about close to a 1/2 inch, maybe 3/8. Try one more time. Yeah, that's good. Because when you trim the bottom of this pot, you're going to, well, first of all, when you wire it off, you're going to lose about a 1/16 of an inch, and then when you trim it, you're going to lose about another 1/8. So ultimately, you want to end up with, about a 1/4 inch pre-fired of the floor. You want to make sure the outer part of the bowl, the floor of the pot, is the same depth as the inside. And just doing a little hole. Get some nice guacamole or ranch dip in there. Usually I try to open up the outer part a little bit, it just makes it a little more inviting. Plus gives it a nice strong rim that keeps it from warping or shifting. Okay. Now I'm going to do the platter. And I'm just coming out, working from the center, going out, out, out. In any wide form, the floor of the pot is really critical. You want a good foundation, and it has to be totally even. It's as important as the vertical part of a tall cylinder. So I kind of go back and forth, making sure it's compressed and even. And you could use a rib. There you go. To compress it a little more and get off any little excess slurry that's sitting on the surface. See? Okay, now we're going to do the outer part. This part doesn't have to be too tall, maybe 1.5 inches. A little bit of irregularity working to the top, that usually happens. And there's a real simple way to even that out. So I'll get my needle tool. And just slowly go in and just take that off. There we go. Okay, you want to make sure the walls are even, that you don't have a whole big wad of clay at the bottom. And again, I'm going to open this up a little bit. I think opening up the rim of any pot, bowl, or especially bowls or baking dishes or a dish like this, adds to the strength of it and helps keep it from shifting or warping. Okay, so this is about thrown. Let me give it one more once over. Now it's really important, this part right here, where the bowl meets the bottom of the platter. You want to make sure there's not too much clay sitting there. You want to sort of undercut the bowl a little bit. There's a great saying, clay doesn't mind being thick, it doesn't mind being thin, it hates being thick and thin. So it dries unevenly and it causes cracking. Okay, so I'm going to take I got a piece of chamois here, which is a great tool for just finishing the rim, making it nice and smooth. Okay, I'm going to get off any little drips here. You want the surface, before applying the slip, to be pretty free of slurry. Slip is basically just a watered down clay with mason stain or colorants added, and it's best to add it to the pot when you've just thrown it, just after it's thrown. That way it dries at the same rate the pot is drying, and it bonds much better that way. So this is a slip. It's kind of like I guess like a melted milkshake. That's consistency I could think of. Okay, and so I'm gonna brush some on the inside. And I'm gonna brush some on the outside. Nice even coat. Use both sides of the brush. Use up everything you've loaded on there. And kind of go over it once or twice. Make sure you got a nice even coat. Okay, so that's the thrown part. All that's left is, oh, you know, one important thing. When you, before you wire it off, let's see, where's my, here we go. Get a, what is this called? Trimming stick, and trim a little groove at the bottom. This is good for one thing because you're getting rid of some excess clay, but also this really helps guide the wire through the bottom when you're going to cut it off this vat. And also with chip and dip platters, you're going to have to wire it again once it starts to set up and dry, and you need to take it off the bat. You'll need to wire it again, and it's nice having that groove to feed it through. See, also I like to okay, should have had a screwdriver here to take this bat off. It's really stuck. Okay. Here. Let me take this off. Usually I try to take the bat off. It's just easier to get at the undercut of the wire. So I'm just going to go under here. See how it just slips right under there? Alright. There we go. Okay, that's the part. That part's done.